Okay, well, hello, listeners, and welcome to another week of 11 Hours Apart, a chilling podcast. And here to chat with you guys. She's Leah, I'm Chi, and this week we have quite a few things to talk about. Well, have we decided what exactly we're going to talk about?
I think first and foremost, House of the Dragon finale
Oh,
episode.
finale.
We are a few weeks late because Chi and I were busy the last few weeks, but um, we both watched the finale and we haven't talked about that yet. But then, other than that, I thought we were just going to have kind of a chill episode where we just talk about some of the other things that Chi and I have been watching and, um, yeah, interested in the entertainment world recently. So, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so the finale of the House of the Dragon. Um, I thought it was good. I thought it was a great episode, a great finale
Sure.
for the first season, and the way the episode ended, there's a lot of blood. There's a lot of blood coming.
The war
It's
is
gonna
on.
be a war, and someone is resolved to not like mercy is out of the window. It seems like, um, right? Would you agree?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty intense.
Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that was kind of the deal. Yeah, as y'all know, like Chi and I, whatever we talk about, spoilers are all we don't worry about spoilers. So this is
Yep.
spoilers galore for
Spoilers,
finale of
yep.
House of the Dragon.
Here's
But
your warning.
we I I thought the last episode was great. I think it was a great ending to a great season. I really thoroughly enjoyed this show. For a large part of the show, I was also watching Rings of Power like alongside because the episodes were coming out, and the contrast could not be greater. And House of the Dragon wins that competition by a lot, which pains me to say because I love Tolkien. But um, yeah, it was a very well put together episode, a great conclusion to the season. My only criticism is I don't want to wait. I want them to come out with the next season now.
Oh,
So
yeah, I know, yeah. How long do we have to wait? Like 2 years or something like that? Like I think
yes,
the
it's like
right
2 years.
2024, right? Yeah,
In
it's
two
a long,
years,
it's a
my
long
whole
wait.
life could be different. Maybe I won't care about it anymore. Just kidding. Um,
No, yeah, no, we'll care. We'll forget about the show for a little while, but then 6 months before the new season comes out, we're all gonna start caring again.
yeah. Anyways, it was really good. I there was one part I was confused about, but I mean, it went out with the bang with the two dragons and Luke and Aemon. I have to like think about all their names because their names are so similar. I don't want to say the wrong
Yeah.
person's name. Luke and Aemon on their dragons. And they did such a good job of setting up Luke. Although I did think that earlier in the episode, early in the episode, Luke said something. I think maybe it was when he was talking about how he gets seasick every time he's on a boat, and like he was expressing yet again, for not the first time in the season, that he's not really interested in, he's a good guy, like, or a good boy, I guess. Like he doesn't want any part in the bloodshed. Or I think it maybe actually when I was thinking about it was when Rhaenyra or he like didn't want to go out and like he didn't really want to make claims. He didn't want Driftmark. He didn't want to go out the way his older brother was like gung ho about like going out and like getting people on Rhaenyra's side. Luke kind of seemed like resistant, like he didn't really care to get involved or like start any sort of war or anything like that. And I was thinking about it. I was like, oh, people like that don't last long in Westeros. Like
No,
the good guys don't last long in Westeros.
no,
So he's
no.
a goner. I
Yeah,
knew he was a goner.
Westeros is not for the timid at
I
all.
know.
Like, you know,
Yes, exactly. He's too weak. He or timid. I don't know if he's weak, but he's like timid is a good word. You're right, Chi, because it's like he's not ruthless enough to be
yeah, he's not
to be
aggressive. He's not aggressive, and I think that in that world, you got to be like aggressive. Um,
yeah.
I mean, it's a different time. Like in a time like this, you gotta. Everybody's playing for the game. Like, it's yeah. And there's no room for like casual players in the game at all. And well, it's a good thing that we don't live in that kind of world anymore.
Well,
You know.
this is obviously exaggerated to a large degree, but I do love how they in this season, I feel like especially they made it feel very authentically medieval, like there was some really
Hmm.
authentic kind of elements in each episode that made you feel like it really was a real place in a real time, a real series of events. So they did a really good job with selling the authenticity of the world and everything in this season, I think. But yeah, I really I felt I wasn't I knew what I had the thought earlier on in the episode that Luke was not going to last long, but I don't think it occurred to me that that might actually happen at by the end of this
Hmm.
episode. And so I
Yeah.
was still surprised when he the way he went out at the end. Like I was surprised. And but they did what I loved about it though is that like they gave him a lot of he's a character that hasn't even been in the show like that much. Like he hasn't had a very prominent role in the show up until this point, and they still gave him like some dignity there at the end. Like in the hall, he like walks in like bravely. It's not what he wanted to do, but he goes and does his duty anyways. They made it. The costuming was fantastic. Like I loved his outfit, like his cape. That like I don't even know what his cape was, but it was like had that shiny like detail on it almost, or that shimmery like dragon scale looking cape almost. And I loved that. I thought he looked so cool, so badass for like a little boy. And then when he's in the hall facing Aemon, he he draws his sword at a certain point and he just looks so small and like he's not going to win that fight, but at the same time he faces Aemon with courage to some degree, and they gave him some dignity there at the end so that when he does get off, you really like feel for the guy. It's like he didn't ask for this, he didn't want any part of this really, but he still like put on a brave face and like showed up and did what he was told, and this is what he got for it. And that thought is going through Rhaenyra's head too, because she was there earlier in the episode listening to him express his lack of interest in all of this. So she's heard that side out of her son before, and so she knows he didn't really ask for this or want this especially. But I do have a theory that I wonder if Jace, the older strong boy, is actually Kristen Cole's son, because he could be, maybe. So I wonder if that's a thing that comes out later on.
Yeah, perhaps. But
Because
I thought if he were actually Kristen Cole's son, then I think this they would like give it a hint about like on the skin color thing.
well, what do you mean?
Because Kristen Cole is Dornish. Like he
Yeah.
is supposed to have like darker skin. So if I feel like if Jace was in fact Kristen Cole's son, I thought like they would have the character to have at least have some sort of darker dark-ish skin, not quite as like Kristen Cole, but maybe they would do that. Um, it just doesn't strike me as like that would be Sir Kristen Cole's son, but who knows? Maybe he is.
I mean, Kristen Cole isn't that dark in my opinion. I mean, maybe kind of.
No, but the setting is like he has a darker skin tone, not like
Yeah,
not like African American dark, but like he is like tanned,
I know, but
right?
think about. I mean, I don't think it's unbelievable. Like, I don't think it's
Yeah,
impossible
I know, it's true, it's true.
at
Yeah, he
all.
doesn't have to, like, it might be just be like, yeah, his skin tone is like normal, but um, I
I
just
think
imagine like
the
for a
hint.
show like this, there would be some hint as to like to make us guess. Oh, that reminds me of like the Sir Kristen Cole. Like, could he be? Like, could he not be? I just thought like if he was actually Sir Kristen Cole, it would be there's gonna be something explicit about that. In from his appearance,
I
because like
think
generally how they do it, like it wouldn't be like totally hidden and then, but I don't know.
the hints that I have seen is that we never saw Rhaenyra take the tea that she was given at the end of that episode after she had slept with Kristen Cole, which I always thought was suspicious. Like, we never even saw her take it.
Mm.
So immediately after watching that episode, I thought, did she even take it? Like, and so they left that up in the air. A, B, the other hint that I saw in this finale episode is when they, and kind of all along, is that there has been a distinction between Jace and Luke. Now, of course, that could just be difference in personality between two brothers. Very normal. Not every brother that is of the same father is going to be the same personality type. But Jace has been all along like more interested in fighting, better at that type of stuff. Like, I don't know, and not like the father of the strong boys was also a knight, I believe, right? Wasn't
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's not that their father, it's not that Strong is not wasn't a good fighter also, but I just think that they showed in the finale episode how Jace just like completely overpowered Luke in the and in almost like a kind of ruthless way, considering Luke is younger. It's like you'd think he'd go easier on him. The knights standing to the side were like, hey, like maybe you should take it easy. Like, there was something going on there too that was showing the difference between their two personalities. And like, and then again, like Jace was very quick to take up Rhaenyra's like orders and go, and he went down to where Damon was plotting with the other people and told them to stop doing what they were doing because of what Rhaenyra had said. Like, he was all like ready for it. It's kind of like the difference. It is also kind of a parallel to Aegon and Aemon, which is
yeah.
the opposite as far as the
Right,
older
yeah.
one, Aegon, is not interested. And then the younger one, Aemon, is interested. So it's like there is just difference in personality, and I understand that, and that might not necessarily mean that they have a different father, but I do think there's been a couple hints there that something, I don't know, I just wonder about it. And um I wonder if that could come out at some point, and Kristen Cole, that could sway him
Yeah,
again, because right
potentially.
now he's on Alicent's side.
Hmm.
um but I don't know. It's just very
Yeah,
interesting. I don't know. And
yeah,
they
yeah,
almost made the older one look kind of like if you look at him, he kind of does have similar facial features as Kristen Cole, I think. So yeah, his skin isn't maybe quite the same tone or whatever, but to me that doesn't mean anything whatsoever, because in this show they've already shown that they don't, like in the books, the Valyrians weren't supposed to
yeah,
actually be black.
yeah. They're
You
all,
know,
yeah.
they
They're
weren't
like
described
they're
as,
just like the Aryan, like
yeah,
the yeah. You're like blonde hair,
yeah.
blue eyes, like pale skin, that kind of. Yeah, I get it. I don't know. I it's all possible. I think at this point it's just anything is possible.
Anything's
We just have
possible.
to we just have to
It's a
watch
theory.
everything things unfold. Yeah, it's a theory. Yeah. True. Yeah, we just have to watch things unfold.
I haven't read the book, so I don't know. Like
I
maybe
don't know
there's
either. Yeah,
in
I
there.
didn't read the book either, so I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see. I mean, it's going to be interesting. Well, I mean, I always have this doubt about like how long are these two brothers going to survive. I just have a
I know.
feeling that they're not. I mean, they're just like very. Um, they're like the typical character to like to die early, because one of them is like, you know,
They're
quote
too
unquote
noble.
weak. Yeah, one is like the younger one is like quote unquote weak. The
Hmm.
other, the older one is like it's just so like he reminds me of Rob Stark, very
Hmm.
square, like
Hmm.
honorable, noble, and like that kind of character just don't really. Um, it just seems like it seems a little boring. That is like there's nothing special about him that would make him stand out and survive. Um, but I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. Um, I was kind of confused at the the whole like Rhaenyra giving birth thing. I was confused why she was like refusing help from the nurses and whatnot. Like I didn't quite understand. I understood that she was in a lot of distress and that caused her to kind of go into labor early, or
Hmm.
they kind of implied that the blow of the news like almost like caused an onset of her labor. And I understand that she was in a lot of stress and pain, and that she, I think, was aware to some degree that this baby might not be born healthy or alive. Like, I think she knew that going into the labor, because didn't love, someone had said to her, like, it's too soon, the baby won't survive, or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I think she knew that. So, of course, she was probably like very disturbed by like everything that was going on to some degree, but like I couldn't understand what the point or why she was refusing help. And then I don't want to rewatch it because it was very difficult to watch, I guess, especially I don't know, I just don't like seeing babies like in that are not healthy, it's sad. But she it almost looked like when the baby came out, like the umbilical cord was wrapped around its neck. Did you see that?
I can't remember. I don't remember. Yeah.
Again, like I don't want to go back and watch and like look more closely because it was like not a pleasant thing to
Hmm.
look at. But it looked to me like almost like the umbilical cord was wrapped around its neck, and it's like, is that why it was dead? And if she had accepted the help, would it have survived? I don't know. But then
No,
she was really
I think the
sad.
idea. Yeah, I think the idea was that the baby was doomed to was doomed from, like you said. I think the blow of the bad news would just kill the baby. Like that baby was not meant to survive at all. So I don't think it was meant that okay, if she had accepted help, the baby would have survived. I don't think it was. That's not how I took it. I just took it as like the baby was dead, was
Mm,
like a stillborn, and
yeah.
that was a consequence of this bad news.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, never mind then. Just another little.
I don't know. I mean, it could be. I mean, it's it. Who knows? Maybe that's a subtle. Maybe you're right. I just don't know. I just don't know.
I just couldn't quite tell what they were trying to, I guess, convey with that scene
Right.
exactly, and that
Yeah.
sequence of events, and like what Rhaenyra's decisions were during that time of like her not wanting anybody to be near her. And I can understand how someone who's in a lot of pain and a lot of distress, just it's like, just leave me alone. Like I know that this, like, especially she knows like that this is not gonna be going well. So but I don't know if I also can't quite understand that because I'm like, if you'd think you'd want the help, especially if you were knowing that this birth was not going to be good potentially, like that it wasn't
Yeah,
going to go well. You'd think you'd want people there,
yeah,
like,
all the help you need. Maybe she sort of knew already that the baby was going to be stillborn. And I think maybe she was thinking like this is my job and my job alone to still like bring the stillborn into the world. Like my responsibility as a mother is to give birth to this baby, like dead or
yeah.
alive.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe she thought that if she received help, that would like taken maybe like the whole birthing thing is like it's like a way of like saying goodbye to the baby by like giving birth, bringing him out to the world, like even though he's dead already. And if that was the meaning, then it would make sense for her to not receive any help, because it wouldn't make any difference, right? And it would just take away, like, I think she was suffering because she felt like that was her obligation to suffer this birth.
Oh,
um it's like if you are on a pilgrimage, right? You are like, you walk a really long mile, like you go to this like
oh,
Jerusalem something, and then would you accept if people want to give you a ride? Like you would refuse, because that would take away from the whole point of, like, you know suffering for something. I think maybe she was going through, like, maybe that was the reason why she like decided, like, I'm just gonna do it on my own, and no help from other people.
except
Yeah.
for I don't think like accepting help while you're in labor is exactly like getting rid of your suffering. Like she'd still be suffering, she'd still be going through the labor and still delivering the baby no matter what. But like the help is just people there, so that if they, I don't know. But
I mean,
I did
I mean, the whole premise is that it is my assumption is that the baby is dead. Like, giving
that.
receiving help doesn't wouldn't really make change the outcome at all.
That's what I
And
thought.
right, yeah.
But
So
then
so
when
I right.
But then when the baby came out, I swear it looked to me like it was like the
I know, I know,
umbilical
I know, I
cord.
know. Yes, but let's just for the sake of discussion, let's assume that that's not, maybe I'm just assuming that um the baby was dead in the womb. I'm just trying to, like, explain, think about why she would like refuse help.
I know.
And then the assumption was that, okay, if the baby was dead
Hmm.
inside,
Hmm.
it wasn't because, like, the umbilical cord was like wrapping around the neck. So any help from anybody would not change the fact that the baby would be born dead. If that's the case, and if she knew about it, if she as a mother realized already that, oh, the baby is not going to survive, then this painful birth is like a ritual for, like, almost like an like blaming herself, like punishing herself for not being able to, like, to carry the baby to terms. I think in that sense, if this is the case, then it makes sense for her to, like, I'm just gonna suffer as much as I can, because it's like I'm like serving a sentence, even, like, almost, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess. I just thought that they made that could be, but I just thought that they kept making a big deal out of the fact. It's like they really wanted you to notice that she was really refusing the help. So I was like, what is the point here? Like, what are they really
Mm.
trying to convey? What's underneath this? And because it was like more than one time that the nurses were like, let us help you, let us help you. And she was like,
Yeah.
no, like, get away from me. But like, I did talk to a friend about this, one of my friends about this, and she said something really interesting that I forgot about until just now. But she said she was wondering if maybe Rhaenyra was afraid that something might be done to her like what was done to her mother when her mother was going through that difficult birth, and they ended up attempting
Yeah,
the
but
C-section
then
and killing
right.
the mother and the baby. And maybe she was thinking like, oh, they might try to do something to me in order to save this child and I might die, and therefore she didn't want anybody near her. I
I
thought
don't
that was
I
an
don't
interesting theory too.
yeah, I don't think that makes sense though, because like the only reason Rhaenyra's mother was sacrificed is because like she could be giving birth to a son, to like the only heir that Viserys is ever gonna have, or like at the time, right? Like he really needs a son, like a prince, and he was faced with a choice that you can either save this potential baby, um, or the mother. But this dilemma, this choice is not really there for Rhaenyra though. Like she already had sons already, and it wasn't like she really needs to this baby to survive for some like really huge gain. I don't know. I don't think that makes a lot of sense.
No, but it's more of like it doesn't matter. Like your life is still on the line, whether it's your first son, your only son, or any other child. It's like it doesn't. Sometimes decisions are made or things happen during labor where the mother doesn't survive, regardless of what baby they're getting. So it's just like
Oh, I
maybe
see.
she
I
was
see.
afraid of something happening like that in that moment. But I don't know if that's actually the case. I just thought that was an interesting theory that my friend had, so I
Hmm.
did want to bring that up. Um, but who knows? I think the effectiveness of that scene was it really did show how I feel like I came away from it thinking like it showed really how tough Rhaenyra is, but also how tough women have to be in general in order to go through labor. Like it is not
Oh yeah.
easy. It's not
Yeah.
fun. And women often have the weight of more like Rhaenyra does. Like she had the weight on her shoulders of the fact that she had been named heir and just got passed over for the throne, and she was giving birth. Like, it was just like kind of really emphasized that just that incredible sacrifice, I guess, in a sense that mothers make when they do give birth, and like how dangerous and difficult that is for people. So I don't know. I did get that impression from it, and I think the actress that plays Rhaenyra like really effectively sold that, and then also really sold the sorrow and the grief that comes afterwards. Like when she held the baby afterwards, like that was so sad. Like it was really sad, and then it like cut to the funeral scene basically where they're honoring that child that was not did not survive, and that's when she received the crown of her father, was brought to her, and that was a really powerful moment too, because I think she thought like everything was lost, and then there was like this spark of hope that came back to her that like, oh, maybe I can still reclaim I don't know, my rightful spot. Um, and I thought that was kind of meaningful that didn't Damon set the crown on her head. And it kind of like reminded me of when he placed it on Viserys's head
Hmm.
in that scene too. It kind of like reminded me of that because Damon kind of like looks at the crown for a second before he sets it on her head, and it makes you wonder what he was thinking about. And part of me thought he might be thinking about how he wants the crown on his head, but then the other part of me thought like maybe he was thinking about that last time that he set it on Viserys's head, you know, because I think he
Mhm.
also really does support Rhaenyra in her claim. Like I think he wants her to be on the Iron Throne for sure. But I do wonder if Damon also has his own motives to get on the throne himself eventually too. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty interesting. I don't know. I don't know what Damon. I mean, so far he seems pretty happy. Just be, you know, yeah, like you said, supporting Rhaenyra. I don't. It doesn't seem like he's scheming something on the side. But who knows? Shows like
No,
this,
not
things
yet. I don't.
things can just like change. In a couple episodes. So we don't know. Um, yeah. Um,
I think he is gearing up for. He's been gearing up for this war. Like I think he knew it was coming before maybe other people like admitted it to themselves. Like Damon knew it was gonna come to this. So I think that we see that in the fact that he was going and gathering dragon eggs in an earlier episode. He's trying to gather more dragons. And then also, was it in this finale episode that he goes down and he's like singing to that dragon? I think he's starting to try to test out the idea that he might be able to control more than one dragon by himself. You know what I mean?
mhm,
Like, I think
mhm.
he's because you know how Daenerys had 3 dragons. I
Yeah.
think what they were trying to show in the scene where Damon goes down and is singing to that other dragon is he's trying to see if he can get control of multiple because he has his dragon that he's in very good control of, but I think he's trying to add more on and
Yeah.
he's experimenting with that to some degree. And I think that's how he's going to be able to fight back against Aemon and Aemon's like giant dragon. I forgot what that
Mhm.
dragon's name is, but the
Yeah,
big
it's hard to remember. It's so hard to remember.
one.
Uh, yeah, I agree. I think he realized. I think everybody realizes that dragons are great assets. So he's just trying to like maximize because whoever controls like more dragons wins the war. I think everybody knows that. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think that's exactly what it's doing.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then how freaking cool was it when Luke does show up to where the heck were they going to? Where were they? I don't know where they showed up to, but they were going to try to convince that Lord to like align with.
Oh, that's Baratheon. That's Lord
Was it
Baratheon.
Baratheon? Okay,
That's
that's right.
Baratheon. Yeah.
Yeah. Baratheon, the Baratheon who couldn't read, he couldn't read the note that Luke had brought, but when Luke pulls up to the castle or whatever and the dragon in the background, like this, they did such a good job in this episode of showing scale. Like I
Hmm.
just was, it really did strike you as like, whoa, like that thing
Yeah.
is huge.
Yeah. I didn't realize like there was such a big size difference.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
And
Yeah.
then they did that just with the like kind of the outline, the profile of that dragon in the background. But then later on, when they are like flying through the sky, they had some amazing shots of the 2 dragons and like the difference in size, like kind of flying up together. And
Hmm.
um, I heard, I saw something where they were inspired, like some of the like angles and movements of the dragons in that sequence were inspired by How to Train Your Dragon. Like they got some of it from
Really?
How to Train Your Dragon. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. Cool.
I think you can look it up on YouTube. Like they'll play it in parallel where you can see the similarities
Yeah, yeah,
between.
yeah. Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
it's
Oh,
kind of
cool.
cool because it's like totally different vibe, but like also How to Train Your
Hmm.
Dragon was like really a really good movie. So it
Yeah.
makes sense that they took inspiration from that.
Right, right. Oh, okay, cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I don't know if that's actually true, but I think there was something where one of the creators of the show did comment on that, how they were
Hmm.
inspired by it. Um,
Yeah.
but oh, I think the Is the big dragon's name Vagar? Vagar?
Could be. I really can't remember.
I was trying to look it up.
Vagar is one of the dragon's name for sure, but I don't know if that's actually the name of the largest dragon.
Yes, Vagar. That's
Vagar.
Aemon's. That's Aemon's dragon. It's not actually the largest dragon, but it is one of the largest.
Oh, it's not the largest? Okay.
I think it's the largest one that exists during this time.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Sorry. Yeah. Because the largest one was that one that you see the big skull of.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But it was so good. The visual effects were really good.
Mm-hmm.
They really delivered. I think they're starting to show that, I mean, maybe this is like the last comment I'll make is they're starting to show this interesting concept of that the dragons are also their own free thinking beings that aren't always in complete control by their riders. And I think it's going to start to become very meaningful. Like Aemond has the largest dragon, Vagar, but Aemond clearly isn't in full control of Vagar. Whereas like Daemon has not the largest dragon, but I heard from some like research I did on this, because I haven't read the book. I heard that like the idea is Daemon is in very good control of his dragon. So I think we're going to start to see how that plays out in like war and in battle, like how well you control your dragon versus how big and powerful your dragon is. Like power and size might not be everything if you have a dragon that you're really in control of and can really maneuver around effectively. Whereas obviously in the end, the final scene of this show, both Luke and Aemond being young and being like not having had a lifetime to build up their relationship with their dragons yet, they both lose control of their dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And I was shocked that Luke's dragon did what it did before Daemon's dragon did what it did.
So. Yeah. It was
like, wow, that's a brave little dragon there.
Yeah, just like his rider.
Yeah.
But still, ultimately it's they die anyway. Despite their courage, and I mean, it's just another example of like how cruel the world of Westeros is. Like your character only matters to a certain extent, and yeah.
Right. Yeah. I see what you're saying. Like your virtue only matters to a certain extent. Like you also have to survive and be able to, I don't know, fight or evade danger.
Yeah.
But overall very good episode in my opinion. And
I agree. Yeah.
I can't wait. And it's like, game over. Like we're in war now, like at the end. And even the look, like the actor that plays Aemond, the look that is on his face after that moment, like you can see a lot in his expression of like, he's like, oh my God.
Oh shit. Yeah. I fucked up.
I know.
Yes, totally. Cause like he I think it was, he was just trying to like scare Luke. He didn't like even he was playing. Imagine that like the dragon would lose control and start really like fight.
Yeah.
And there's there's consequence to that. So.
Yeah. Well, I was even like when back before they even got on their dragons, when they were in the hall or whatever, and Aemond was like, I want your eye. I want you to take, he was like, I'll give you a choice that I didn't have. You can choose which one. And even when he made that demand, like that like struck fear in me because I was like, oh my gosh, like how freaking terrified would you be if you were Luke in that situation? You're like,
Yeah.
what? Like, that would be so scary. And then poor Luke, he doesn't survive at the end of it. Ends up being way worse than just his eye. But
Yeah, true.
it 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 was very good. And but one thought also that I think that this could have been cool is if they had actually, it was really cool how they showed Rhaenyra receiving the news and then she turns around and then it's like game on, like she's now committed, like she's going after the greens. But I almost think it would have been cool if they tied it back into, if they, for the finale, since it's a finale of the season, if they also had showed like a split screen, like both Alicent and Rhaenyra receiving the news, and like like that could have been kind of cool too. But I also think Rhaenyra, like it was very effective just showing Rhaenyra, so I'm not really complaining about that at all. I'm just saying it would have been interesting to see like how Alicent reacts after she hears this news of what happened too. So anyways, I think that could have been cool if they just tied it back into the greens like before the end of the episode, since it was the season finale. I know that this whole episode was focused on the blacks, but they could have done something right there at the end, I think. But whatever, they did. It was good with just Aemon's reaction to when it happened, and then Rhaenyra's reaction. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I like how the episode ended. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
who are you rooting for, Chi, at this point?
I think I'm like Rhaenyra. Like I would really like to see her sit on Iron Throne. I think yeah, because yeah, so far, I mean, of all the characters at this point,
Yeah.
I think my vote is for Rhaenyra. I would like to see her succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. At first, I was like, at the beginning of the season, I was Rhaenyra. Then in the middle of the season, I was Alicent for a little while, and now I think I'm back with Rhaenyra.
Right?
Especially when
Yeah.
Alicent like is put her son on the throne. Like I just was like, why would you do that? Like I understand that she thinks that that's what Viserys is
Well,
like.
yeah, she was because she misunderstood, right? So
She was what?
miss she misunderstood.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. So yeah, I mean Allison. I mean, I like her a lot as a character, but I don't think I'll be very satisfied if she ends up sitting on the Iron Throne, or anybody from her camp for that matter. Because
Yeah, I don't think she's
like no one on her side really, like I can't really imagine or like or want to see sit on Iron Throne. No one on her side.
What
Um,
about Aemond? He's kind of
I,
like,
Eamon is cool, but like he's more. I think he and Damon has the same thing. Like I think they have
yeah,
the ambition, but I don't think they really want to sit on the throne. Like they just don't have that kind of like.
they don't want the responsibility of it, I don't think. It's like
They just don't have like they might want to be a lord of some like region of the like like a Driftmark or uh like some really important position, but to really be the king I don't think they have like the patience or the because like to be a king, you have to govern. I don't think neither of them has showed that
Shared
much interest
that.
in governing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they like war, they like fighting.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure. So
Mm-hmm.
they would make great generals, but
Mm-hmm.
king, I just don't see that.
I
Um,
think I think Amond wants it because he's said that in the show. Like he has made comments because his older
yeah,
brother
no, no, yeah, I
doesn't.
know, but I think it has more to do with the attention, or like why wouldn't anybody look at me? It's not really like, oh, I want to be king instead of my brother. It's like, well, I'm more capable. So like, wouldn't you be looking at me? Like, I think he was jealous about the attention, but not necessarily the prospect for the throne per se. That's
Mhm.
my interpretation. That's my takeaway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But I didn't mean to suggest that Allison is getting I want that I was rooting for Allison to get on the throne. What I meant was her can't like the green they call them the greens,
Right,
the
right, right.
high
Yeah, yeah.
tower side of
Hmm.
things. Like I was rooting for the greens at a certain point, and then
Hmm.
I switched back to Rhaenyra because
To the black.
Allison ended up. It's interesting because Allison took on like her whole thing was she did do her duty as a woman in this world from an early age. Like she married, she had kids, she was a mother, like all this stuff. But what's interesting is Rhaenyra, who rebelled against that initially, didn't want to get married, wasn't that interested in having kids. Rhaenyra becomes actually like a pretty good mom, and Allison kind of isn't. Like Allison isn't the good mom and Rhaenyra is. I mean, I think Allison has some good motherly characteristics about her for sure, but she kind of like as you see her interactions with Aegon, like she clearly didn't raise Aegon to be like an upstanding citizen or anything cuz he's not that that's completely her fault. Like you can't fully control your kids, but like he was clearly like out of control from an early age and into all kinds of, you know, very bad behavior. And you saw her interactions with him, and she wasn't. They show Rhaenyra being much more loving towards her children than they show Alicent towards hers. So I think that's kind of interesting how they did that because it does work out that way sometimes. Like people that resist against something, they end up falling in love with doing that thing, and then you never know what's gonna happen like later in your life and whatnot. But I think it's very cool to see like the parallels and the contrast between Alicent and Rhaenyra and just how they've grown up. Like I do think this show was very effective at showing that in this season. Um, and then how they pass that down to their children. And I think based on what you were saying, Chi, I do think Damon's in like the perfect position for him. Like he wants to see Rhaenyra on the
Hmm.
throne so that he's in close proximity to it, but he still has power. But I think he likes being like, he likes fighting and he'll fight her wars for her basically. And yeah. So based on what you were saying, which I think there's some truth to that probably, I think Damon's kind of perfectly positioned if Rhaenyra gets on the throne. So he for himself, for what he kind of wants. Like I think you could be making a good point. He doesn't really want to govern. He just wants to be in proximity. He wants power. He wants to be able to he wants the glory of, I guess, fighting in a war, and he's gonna get a lot of that, I think. So there's that. But
Yeah.
one other thing I wanted to mention is, did you notice that? Have you noticed that the Allison's daughter, who is now married to Aegon, that she has that dreamer quality that the Valyrians have? Because when she's talking in that
Oh,
nonsense, she's like
yeah, yeah,
predicting.
yeah, yeah. Yes.
She's
Yeah.
like foreseeing the
I did
future.
notice that. Wait, who is she married to?
Aegon,
Not Aegon.
the king, the guy that's currently on the Iron Throne, the Allison's son, who's like very bad, the bad boy. the
But aren't they like siblings?
Yeah, they married them. Yeah, because there was the whole scene where back at the I
Are
think
you
it was,
sure?
yeah, I'm sure, because that's what they
I
do.
thought she's to be married to Jace.
No. Jace and Luke were betrothed
Oh,
to.
to the drift marks, to the right,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I somehow missed that. I didn't realize they were married,
Yeah.
brothers and sisters.
Which
Really?
now I am curious. That brings up something else kind of interesting. I am curious what's going to happen to the girl that was betrothed to Luke. Like, I wonder what's going to happen with her, and like if she's going to end up being betrothed to someone else or what. But
She probably
maybe
will
she'll have
be.
what?
She probably will be.
Yeah, I know, but I wonder if she's going to start to have a bigger role to play as well. Because one of those girls didn't have a dragon yet. Because remember how the Aemond stole the dragon that was their mother's, Vagar. Aemond stole Vagar, and then the girl said when they're in the cave, she was like, "That was supposed to be my dragon," like because she didn't have a dragon yet. So one of those girls doesn't have a dragon yet. So I think maybe that's the one that was betrothed to Luke, and I wonder if she's gonna have a bigger role next season, where they're gonna get her a dragon, and she's gonna start to have like a political role to play. So that would be kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Maybe she'll get her mother's dragon.
Well, Aemond has her mother's dragon because he stole it. Remember? The dragon was like sleeping in the
No,
sand
I'm
dunes.
talking about the or maybe that's not their mother. Damon's ex-wife.
Yeah, same drag. It's Vagar is the dragon.
Oh, really? Oh,
The,
okay.
the
Okay.
mother, Damon's
Yeah.
ex-wife,
Okay.
who ordered her dragon to
Right,
basically
right. To burn
burn her.
herself. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, okay. Somehow I thought that was okay. I must have got the timeline all confused. Sorry. Yeah.
I think I'm.
Because I remember like when Aemon stole the dragon, he was still a kid. He wasn't played by this grown-up actor.
Yeah,
But I
they were all.
remember, but wasn't anyway. I
It's
can't. Yeah,
confusing.
sorry. I couldn't keep track of all that happened.
Yeah,
Anyway, yeah.
yeah. Well, there's a lot going on, and I guess we'll have to wait 2 years to figure out what happens.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
So, cool. Well, that is all I have to say on that episode. Any other final thoughts, Chi?
No, that's all.
Well, before we go, I think we did want to bring up that we both watched Tales of the Jedi, the animated series of relatively short, like shorts, I guess you could call them, because they were like 15 minutes long, 13 minutes long, somewhere in there. We both watched that. What else were we talking about that we watched? I've been watching Andor. Chi's only watched a couple episodes of that. And then Chi, you've been playing some video games. So I don't know if you
I
wanted to
have.
answer those.
Oh, I just want to quickly mention. Yeah, I can just mention them quickly. There were two games that just came out on the same day. I think one is a the first one is there's like a tactical RPG that was a remake or like a remastered version of. So the original game was published, I think maybe 20 years ago. I played that game as a kid,
What
and
is
it
it?
was like it's called Tactics Ogre.
Oh, okay.
OGRE, Tactics Ogre.
Uh-huh.
The title doesn't really mean anything. Well, except that the ogre in the story means that, if you're willing to like sacrifice people to achieve your goal, then you will get rewarded. then like they call you an ogre in the world.
Oh
It's
gosh.
like you're a monster, basically. It's
Yeah.
like a monster, but they give you an ogre.
Okay.
So it's a game. I think the first of its kind to you can make decisions in the story, and that's going to decide where the story is going to go. For example, like spoilers alert, at the end of the first chapter,
Uh-huh.
you are like you play this young soldiers in a rebellion basically, and you are from this repressed country, like this small country that was long being repressed by this neighboring more stronger country, and there's like a racial element to it. Like the strong country think that you people, you're just inferior. You're an inferior race, right?
Mhm.
So there's that going on.
Mhm.
So at the end of the first chapter, you're fighting, this big country, and then your superior order you to like to massacre this village of your own people, and like as like and frame it,
Mhm.
um, you know, frame your enemy for it
Mhm.
as a way to like unite the country, and also like create some like some um like dissent within the enemy.
Mhm.
Because the thing is that, well, maybe even though they're the enemy, but they might think this is like you have gone too far. If
Mhm.
they believe that their country did this, like massacre the whole village,
Mhm.
they might think you've gone too far, and they might just try to they might start disagreeing with you, and that's gonna like weaken our enemy. So you're faced with a choice: would you do it? And yeah, it's a hard choice,
Mhm.
and based on the decision you make, you're gonna go on very different, well, quite different routes of the story. But then you're gonna come back.
Yeah.
So yeah, so there are like three different routes you can take. It's like the lawful route, the neutral route, and the chaotic route, which
Okay.
is like the RPG sort of,
Mhm.
basically like you believe what the world tendency is. Like the lawful, neutral, and chaos
Mhm.
refer to that.
Mhm.
Really great story, really great writing, great gameplay, and they remade it again. I think about 10 years ago on like on the PS Portable. So I played
Okay.
that as well,
Okay.
and they just released it a few days ago on like PS4 and PS5.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been playing that a lot. That's the first game. The
Okay.
second game is called the God of War Ragnarok. It's a sequel of a really amazing game called God of War. So God of War
Whoa.
it
I think
started
I've
out
heard
as
of
like an action RP. It's an action game. Like it was like released in like I think PS2s,
it. Mhm.
so like a long time ago.
Mhm.
And the game, the original God of War series is just like there's no sort of very little character development. It's just like hack and slash sort of thing. Like
Mhm.
you play this like really furious, God of War, Greek God of War, and you end up just murder all the gods on the Olympus, pretty much.
Mhm.
It's like a revenge story,
Mhm.
and that was a success. And but then like the game like and the series ended for a long time, and then I think 5 years ago, um they decided to bring the game back. But like it's like a sequel to those series, but it's a whole new different game. So now, Kratos, the God of War, he got tired of killing. He got tired of who he was. He went to the Norse countries, and like met a woman and had a kid. And
Mhm.
when the story started, the his wife just died, and he and his son, because he's like a very stern, like very taciturn kind of guy, right?
Mhm.
So he and his son is kind of like very in a strained relationship. Like they are not
Mhm.
really close. But the dying wish of his wife is, she wanted them to take her ash and like spread her ash from the top, from the like the highest peak in in the Middle Earth, like the
Mhm.
in Norse mythology.
Mhm.
So they went on this journey, and a lot of things happen along the way, and it's actually a father son story
Mhm.
at the core.
Oh, okay, cool.
Again, awesome story, great writing, great gameplay. It won the Game of the Year award that year.
Oh,
So
cool.
5 years later, we got a sequel.
Hmm.
Because the the in the game, in the first game, they it was clear that there was going to be a sequel because the story was not finished yet.
Hmm.
So where we are is, a couple years later from when the first game ended. And um from the previous game, we at the end of the game, we a prophecy was revealed that the son, the Kratos son, because the Kratos wife was a giant, um meaning like she's not giant, but like giant is like a race that rebelled against Odin.
Hmm.
um so obviously, like, his wife used to be like a rebellion leader, but the rebel like rebellion didn't work out, so like she sort of retired and like went into hiding and had a kid, and she
Hmm.
died. And the kid, Kratos' son, is
Hmm.
Loki.
Oh, okay.
It's prophesied to be Loki, and
Okay.
he is, as far as we know at this point, that he is gonna bring about Ragnarok.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this
So,
game is not related to the Marvel versions of these characters. It's
oh, no,
just
no, no, no,
related
not at
to
all,
their
not at all. It's totally independent. It's nothing to do with Marvel.
Okay.
It
I
just
didn't
like
think
it
so.
borrows, yeah, it borrows like the Norse mythology and
Norse.
Greek
Yeah.
mythology, and it just like makes something of their own.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with any of the,
Okay.
yeah, anything
Okay.
out there that also uses that all share the same sort of mythology, but it's an independent, its own thing.
Yeah.
So now Kratos has decided, because he really because he of all people knows the consequences of going to war with gods.
Mhm.
Like, his previous family, they all died because of that.
Mhm.
And now he had a new family. Well, his wife passed away, but he had a son, and
Mhm.
they really have this bond going on. So
Mhm.
he was really hesitant about, well, would I really want to, like, make my son like realize the prophecy, because that might mean like they have to take on all the Norse gods,
Mhm.
and he, of all people, just wouldn't want that to happen at all. But
Mhm.
then that also means that if he, like, just keeps on hiding, his son would never find out who he meant to be.
Mm.
So, and that like weighs on him as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
really, really good story.
Yeah. I have
Yeah,
heard people talking about this, and I remember being kind of confused because just hearing tidbits
I know,
about
I
it.
know.
I was
Yeah,
like, "Is
and
that
there's a lot of Thors, a lot of Odins out there, a lot
Yeah,
of
yeah,
Freyas. Yeah,
yeah,
it's yes, for
yeah."
sure.
So that's very interesting, but that's really cool.
Very
So
interesting.
how have you finished these games, or are you still playing them?
No, I'm still playing because I only got them, I think, last like Friday or something. So I haven't. No, where I am, I just started God of War because I only play that on
Okay.
weekends because I want to have, like, like a whole morning so I can enjoy,
Yeah.
because it's not a game like you can just play for half an hour. Like, it was
Yeah.
just too fragmented.
You gotta get
So
into the story.
yeah, exactly. So I'm not very far into God of War Ragnarok just yet.
Mhm.
But I've been enjoying it. But the other game, the Texas Ogre, you can play like one battle at a time. So like I'm like more event, and also I've played the game before, so it's a lot easier for me just like go get back into it. Um,
Cool.
so I'm like three-quarters of the way through my first playthrough, so I pick one route, and
Uh,
then later on, like when you finish the game, you unlock this like it's called like the wheels of fortune system, which allows to go back into like any of the divergent point of story. You can just play,
oh,
keep
cool.
what you have, but you can
Yeah.
you can pick other routes.
Okay, cool. I was
So
wondering
so
about that too, so that's cool.
yeah, it's really pretty amazing. And obviously, like, you get different you recruit different characters on different routes. So you only have to play all three to have like the full experience.
Okay,
Yeah, super
cool.
cool. That is like my one of my favorite games ever.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm happy for you
Thank you.
playing
Thank
these
you.
games.
Thank you. Yeah. I just, I don't really play a lot of games.
Yeah.
But it just so happened that the game I want to play, they all like space out very nicely. So like I was playing this one game and well, two games really.
Mm-hmm.
I finished them, and then these two games come out,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to play these two. And then I think by the time I finish these two, the Hogwarts
Legacy.
Legacy game is gonna
Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah.
yeah, around the time that that game will come out. So
Yes.
yeah,
February, I think, right? Is
I
that?
don't. I think so.
I think
I
so.
think so.
Something like it got delayed like a little bit. Like it was gonna come
Yeah,
out
yeah,
earlier.
yeah. It was like yeah, there was a minor delay.
Yeah.
I mean, the game looks super awesome. I just hope that it plays as awesome as it looks.
I know. I hope so too. I
Mm,
really hope so. And I hope the story is good because yeah, that's essential as well. So,
yeah.
yeah. But
The only thing is, I think yeah, I think I already like my character, the character, because apparently there's a lot of freedom as you know in terms of what kind of wizard you can be.
uh-huh.
And I'm gonna copy Newt Scamander. I think that's exactly the wizard I would
Oh
like to be.
really? Oh, that's cool.
Well, Hufflepuff, and
Yeah.
like he like his thing is like the magical creatures.
Yeah. I know.
If
Yeah.
I were in Harry Potter universe, that would be the
That's
kind
what
of
you would
wizard I
be.
am because
Yeah.
I was playing Hufflepuff.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what I will be, but I think I'll be a
You'll be
Gryffindor.
getting a PS4. You'll be getting a PS4 first. Otherwise, it's all like
I know. I don't have a. I'm talking like I already. I have the
yeah.
means
Hey,
to have this.
Thanksgiving like the Black Friday would be a good time to get one. It's cheaper.
Yeah, I know. I gotta look at my budget. Maybe I'll make something happen. Because
Yeah.
it's like when you get the PS4 or whatever, does it come with a controller? Do you have to buy the
No,
controller?
no, no, no. You come with it comes with the one controller.
Okay. So if you want a second one to play with other people,
You
you
have
have
to
to
buy a second one.
buy a
Yes.
more. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking about it. I'll figure something out maybe.
Mm,
I mean, I gotta play this game. I was like, I'm either
yeah.
gonna get a PS4 or 5 or whatever, or I'm gonna have to find a friend that has it and that gets the game and then just go over to their house
Oh,
every day for a
yeah,
month.
yeah. Do that too. You know what happened was, remember I went back to Panama and I couldn't find a PS4.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
okay.
I know, but someone else. Okay, so I later found out where it was.
Oh,
Or rather, some. So I had this bag of stuff that I forgot
yeah.
existed, and
Yeah.
it was. So I it was well. Long story short, the PS4 was in that bag,
Uh-huh.
and the bag was in my old apartment. But when
Yeah.
my friend, who like took over the apartment, he moved out. He brought the bag back to his lab.
Oh.
And I didn't forgot about it. I thought my
Oh.
PS4 was gone. But then
Oh.
I got this email from the PA of that lab saying, "Oh, we found this bag of yours, and there's a PS4 in it. Like, what would you like us to do?" I was like, "Oh, well, by the when I got the email, I was already back in Taiwan. I was like,
Yeah.
well, just distribute the items in the bag, and whoever wants to take. I think there might have been like there are some like good stuff in there. Like there are like
Yeah.
a couple pairs of good shoes and whatever. Like
Yeah.
my diving
Wow.
like the wetsuit.
Yeah.
I just forgot about. It's been so long. I don't even remember where they were. But anyway,
Well,
you almost got my PS4.
I know I did. But you made someone else's day by giving
I know.
them
Yeah,
that.
I think yeah. I'm sure someone would be happy to take that
Oh yeah.
PS4 from the bag for sure.
Yeah.
No, but seriously though, like because the PS5 just came out, which means that PS4 is going to be even cheaper than before.
I know.
And
That's
then
what I'm
Black
afraid.
Friday, I mean, because PS4, well, the
Okay.
Sony is gonna try to like sell as many copies of PS4 as possible because it's
Yeah.
just gonna stay in the warehouses, right?
Yeah.
Because going forward, that's like the previous generation console, so you know
Okay.
you might be able to get like a really good price on that, and
Okay.
plus besides the
Hmm.
gaming console, you also get a Blu-ray player. That's
Oh
a really
yeah.
good deal.
I have a Blu-ray player, but I mean, it would be cool if I could get the gaming console too, I guess.
Yep.
And then I'll just become a gamer.
Exactly.
um, but that's cool. I do. There are definitely games that interest me, and I did used to when I was younger. I've told Chi this before, but I used to play computer games for sure. And I had a Game Boy SP back in the day, and I loved that. I was very interested in video games, but my parents, mostly my mom, didn't really want to invest in that stuff. So she,
Sounds like my parents.
yeah, so like I mostly only had access to video games when I would go over to friends' houses. And that was cool. Like
Yeah.
I did enjoy
Yeah.
playing them, but um yeah, I just never had it. I do remember though I've played like when I was little and I'd go over to friends' houses, like I've played parts of like Lord of the Rings video game that came out like around when the films came out. I think it was like the Fellowship, whatever came out after Fellowship. I mean, I've definitely played a lot of like Mario Kart, Super Smash, like all that Nintendo stuff. Um, and I don't think I've ever played a Star Wars game, but I'd be very curious to do that. And
You should
then
play the Jedi Fallen Order. That game is
I know,
good.
yeah, I know. I would like to play that. And then I played a Harry Potter computer game that I loved, and that is one of the things that I is driving me to want to play Hogwarts Legacy so bad because I loved playing that Harry Potter computer game, and it is nothing compared to what this looks like it's gonna be. So
Yeah.
I know like if I enjoyed that computer game, I will fall in love even more with playing Hogwarts Legacy. So yeah, I definitely want to do that. I just watched, that actually reminds me, I finally watched the Harry Potter reunion thing that they did. It came
Mm.
out last year around Christmas time, I think, or New Year's it came out. And it was like in honor of the 20th anniversary of like the first film coming out.
Yeah,
And
I watched that too.
yeah, I hadn't watched it until like 2 weeks ago or something, and I loved it. It was so. I mean, I think I thought of it again because Robbie Coltrane passed,
Hmm.
and it made me want to go back and watch it. And I had kind of meant to watch it before now. I just hadn't. And whenever I watched it, I was like, oh, like this just it like reinvigorated the Harry Potter fan in me. Like I was just like, I need to like go rewatch the movies and like read the books again and play this game. Like I'm now like kind of hyped on Harry Potter all over again. I mean, that happens. I go through cycles of being hyped, like re-hyped about stuff, and not that I ever lose the that I ever lose that entirely. It's just sometimes I stop paying attention to Harry Potter stuff as much, but um now I like it's reinvigorated it, and then I that's made me think about this game coming out all over again. So that's cool. But I also heard that I think there's like a new president, or I don't know what he's called, a new person who's running Warner Brothers, and that just like called for more Harry Potter movies. And I think what he meant with that was not the Fantastic Beasts franchise, but like something new, something else that's Harry Potter, more Harry Potter movies, he said. And so I am like all for that. Yes, please. I hope whatever it is that it takes place, I hope it either involves Harry Potter as a character. Harry Potter should be a character in it, or it takes place at Hogwarts. Like it can take place during a time when Harry Potter is not there if it's at Hogwarts, in my opinion. So that's what I hope. That's my hopes. But I was very glad to hear that from this new guy who's like running Warner Brothers.
Yeah. I
As
mean,
long as it's
apparently,
good.
yeah,
As long as it's good. I don't
right.
care if it's
I
bad
agree.
quality. I don't want it. But
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah. I mean, apparently, like the the leadership before the Warner Brothers was just total crap.
Yeah.
They just made a lot of bad decisions, and we'll see. We'll see this like new, this new era of the Warner Brothers,
Yeah.
because it benefits us all if they just put out quality contents. You
Yeah.
know.
Because I think he had said something else about DC, like they're talking about what to do with DC um movies and stuff too. So
Yeah,
I know
they also had a new person like James Gunn, um, who used to work with Marvel a lot. He is like the new. He's gonna take charge of the DC, the DCEU now. So
yeah,
I think
I
that's a good thing.
heard
I think
about
he's
that.
very talented, so I think that's a good thing.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Well, I would love to see like a movie where Harry Potter is like working as an Auror or something. They just
Hmm.
better make him badass and not. I don't want to see this whole trope of, oh, the heroes of yesteryear turn into become crappy fathers down the line. I don't want to see that. He better
Yeah, I
be
don't
a
think.
good father and amazing. Like I want to see him
Mhm.
be heroic still. So
Yeah,
that's if
yeah,
they do something with Harry Potter as an Auror, I'm cool with it as long as they honor his heroicism and hopefully show that he is a good father and husband and everything. But then also, if they do something else that doesn't have Harry Potter in it, I'm okay with that too. I just hope that it captures that magic of Hogwarts and the mystery of in the ancientness of that setting. Like I think that's so much of the story is that setting, and that's why I'm all about this Hogwarts Legacy game, because I want to see this. Like this is Hogwarts in the 1800s, I think, or something like that. Like
hmm
I want to do that. So um that's really cool. But yeah, and then I just wanted to mention like Chi and I both watched and loved Tales of the Jedi. Great, great. My applause goes out to the creators of that show, especially, in my opinion, the Count Dooku arc. I am starting to get a little Ahsoka fatigued, but that's because I did watch all of Clone Wars, which is Ahsoka is very prominent in Clone Wars. They're making a new show about Ahsoka, so I feel like we've got a lot of Ahsoka going on. And I think what's amazing is that Dave Filoni also excels at telling the stories of these prequel characters like Dooku and Yaddle or whatever too. Like he knows those prequel characters really well and he understands what George Lucas was trying to do with the prequels. So I think he really shines with that stuff also. So I hope that he continues to do more of that, but I know he's also very attached to Ahsoka as a character, and that definitely shows in everything he does involves
hmm
her, and he puts her in every single thing. Like he even, places her at Padme's funeral in Tales of the Jedi, which I thought was cool. But
hmm
I just like I'm starting not to care so much about Ahsoka just because she's everywhere. Like she just does everything, and it's like whatever. But Dooku is a character we hadn't seen much of. Like I didn't know that much about him other than what was in the prequels, and such a cool character. Beautifully, like beautiful art in these shows. Like there were times when I was watching Tales of the Jedi where I forgot that it was animation. Like I seriously thought, like especially the views of like Coruscant and stuff. I was like, that is amazing. It looks real. It was just it was so beautiful. It kind of mirrored Anakin's fall as well. Like when the sun, both Anakin's turn and Dooku's turn, there's like it's like sunset on Coruscant. And then some of that like music that plays, the music was amazing too, by the way. But the music that plays almost was reminiscent of Anakin's, I think it's, what is that song? Anakin's Betrayal or something. It, that plays right before Order 66 occurs. Um, Anyways, it was just very well executed, very well done. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I have not rewatched them yet, but I plan on rewatching the Dooku episodes for sure. But even the Ahsoka ones, like they were great too. I'm not complaining about them. And I learned more of the story in watching those as well. So they were also awesome. And yeah, but I love the Dooku ones especially because it really like it felt very Star Warsy. It just felt so. It felt like George Lucas was still involved in that. So I love that, and I think that they should continue going in that direction because that show was better, in my opinion, than some of the other shows that they've come out with recently. And I've been watching Andor too, which I actually do enjoy, but that has a very different feel to it, you know. And but I do recommend you've only watched the first 2 episodes of Andor. I think it will actually be better to watch Andor like when it's all done, like all in one kind of like not necessarily in one sitting, but you know what I mean? Like you can binge it. I think it would be better that way because it does start out kind of slow. But there are some really cool, like nuanced things. The writing in Andor is really good. The dialogue is great. It's like there's some very thought-provoking things, and some of the acting is fantastic as well. I have found, and they did a good job. I think with there's like 2 female characters in particular that I think they did really well with creating those characters to be who they are. But there are some like very like kind of, how should I put it? Andor doesn't have the joy and hope that most Star Wars projects should do, or like most of the movies I guess had. Like it's definitely a darker version of Star Wars and a more kind of depressing version.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's fine. Like it is more made for adults, I guess, but it's not as fun, I guess you could
Right,
say.
right. Yeah. I think we should have like an Andor discussion when I finished all the episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that I'll end it there because I know you probably got to get going, Chi. But
Yeah.
Tales of the
Okay.
Jedi, highly recommend.
I agree. I really enjoy that show too. Cool. Okay. I think this would be a quick place to wrap up the episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to do the outro?
Oh, sure. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hopefully Chi and I will be getting back together to do this again before long. And until next time, signing off. I'm Leah and he's Chi. Bye.
Bye, guys.